Hello, good morning. Welcome into another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq right here on the Clover Trading YouTube channel. Starting a little bit late this morning. Only got one gapper. Me and Huddie were talking about trading and stocks, and then we looked down and it was 9 o'clock. So we apologize for that. So we'll rapid fire this intro and get into the meat and potatoes of today's show. It is the 10th day of February, year of our Lord 2025. Wrapped up our first week last week. Had a lot of fun, had a little bit more excitement, more trade opportunities. Going into this week, only one that I saw, good size gapper. One of them's over 100%, one sneaking into the 70% range, and that's a recent one. So I'm sure we'll hit that as well. As always, get going in the live chat. Let us know any tickers you have questions on, any questions you have at all. And I will handpick a few towards the end, and we will answer those for you guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button as well. I like to get that number up towards 50, and hit that subscribe button. We post long form content every single Monday, and we're live every day the market is open. Also want to let you guys know I pinned in the comments section a link to the raffle that we'll be doing for Wine Wednesday, which is the 12th of this week of February, 7 p.m. Eastern. You got to be there if you want to win your Bootcamp ticket. We're doing live in-person Bootcamp March 22nd to the 24th in Los Angeles. If that interests you, but you don't really want to pay for it, this is your opportunity to get involved. Join the raffle. Make sure that the rules are all on the sheet right there, but you got to be following us on a social media platform, got to be in the free Discord, and you got to be there that night. Once you put in your raffle ticket, you got to be there to watch the wheel spin and hopefully see your name get picked. So that'll be 7 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. And if you have any questions, reach out in Clover support if you have any questions on the raffle. All right, Huddie, how are we?
All right, Dom, you have my interest, you have my curiosity. What's going on?
All right, now that I have both of those things, let's get into the biggest gapper of the day, which is what we do here on Good Morning Nasdaq. Talk about the biggest gappers of the day, talk about what's moving them, why they're moving, should anything stop them from moving, what's going on the daily chart, all that fun stuff. And the biggest one of the day is BDRX, which looks like it just popped up 8:30 a.m. here. Biodexo Pharmaceuticals, healthcare stock, biotech out of the United Kingdom, 670K float. Good morning. 34 minutes ago.
I'll be on the low side.
They received U.S. FDA fast track designation for IRAPA and familial adenopatous polyposis.
You're doing great.
Polyposis. So they got stuff going on, okay? They got FDA fast track designation. They are a tiny float. I wonder if they've done a split or anything recently, or if they're just that low. They regained compliance 3 months ago. Give me here. What's going on here? What's going on in the filings? They got 6.1 months of cash left. I got a priced offering from October. Some May of last year warrants at 25.
I mean, yeah, here's the thing to know about, obviously I think we're dealing with a pretty low float here, and you can't really have that much ample dilution on a low float. I mean, sometimes it happens, but most of the time it's going to be relative to the float. So, yeah, there's some stuff at $25. Maybe they get repriced at some point, and that becomes interesting. There is a few shares at 25 cents, but it's less than 100,000. Like this is just not going to be like something that's obviously diluted, at least to the naked eye.
Yeah. 670K float has been one that we've seen pop up from time to time. If you're just looking at the last 3 to 5 months here, we got some volume on the daily chart, some wicks up into the sky up towards $7.50. Today's move started at 4. We're already above that first area of resistance. Then it got kind of a doji candle where we got kind of wicks. Wicks to the upside, wicks to the downside. Thank you. From 8 to 10.
Uh-oh.
Bless me. Thank you. Thought it was a one and done, but it turned out to be a twofer. And just kind of like $2 in each direction there, putting in some resistance on okay volume, just about 7 mil volume that day, up near 11. So we're kind of above one level of resistance, below another. And this is a stock full, the further back you go, of just these one-day runs. So I got to imagine this was a reverse split based on the prices I'm seeing on this chart. But you have just a ton of days with either wicks into the sky and then fade for the weeks to come, or just open and death all day. So when we talk about behavioral history, when we talk about areas on the chart or tendencies that stocks have, this one certainly falls into the boat of a tendency to fail on big gaps. Anytime the stock gets volume, anytime it gets some interest going for it, even if it does have some morning spike action, it does not sustain those gains. It doesn't go higher in the coming days, and it goes back to where it came from. What do you do with that information?
Kind of just be aware of its tendency to gap and crap, and that it is a small float. So, it might be a little crazy and chaotic at moments, but at the end of the day, we kind of know that this company is probably a low float for a reason. It's struggling for cash. Some other things that I have uncovered since you were talking is they do have that equity line in there, which, yeah, they can raise money from it. But they're probably limited to how much that they can actually tap it, just given their float and stuff like that and whatever regulations are in place. They have a bunch of warrants at higher prices. Those can be repriced and brought down lower, but we don't know if they're going to do that anytime soon or what. But it is a company that's a low float. They're struggling for cash. They have, a need for cash and a historical precedence that they kind of sell into the gaps. So, I'm not bullish, capping up 100% here. I don't think it's good odds for this to go higher, but I do think it could be chaotic.
Yeah, anytime you have a higher price stock, which if you're new to small caps, me saying that about an $8 stock could sound crazy, but this is more towards the high end of the range of the stocks that we trade, and you have such a low float, you're probably already seeing spready spreads on the level 2 right now. I don't have that up, but when you have sub 1 million floats, you can get some chaotic movement. You can get some speedy moves in each direction, even if the overall trend is higher or lower or whatever it is. You can see random support or resistance breaks and then continue back on the trend. It can be very difficult to manage your trades if you're used to trading slower moving stuff or just more trendy stuff that is safer and thicker across the bid and the ask. We'll see what this is like right out of the gate. Hard to know exactly what it's going to be until it happens. But daily chart wise, this one screams at you not to be bullish, not necessarily always to be bearish, but that today will be its one run and then it will fumble on down a lot lower in the coming days and weeks. So again, that's not a guarantee that that's what's going to happen. Stocks buck the trend all the time and turn into massive runners. Will that be today on BDRX is the question. All right. Where do you want to go next? PNBK?
I mean, it's kind of up there. Some merger news I read in our chat that people are talking about. Not sure if that's like similar to what else has been running. Um, we do have a nice runner in small cap. That's what I think I would talk about.
All right, let's go to it.
I mean, I'd rather talk about M goal. I mean, the problem with M goal is we talked about it on Friday. There's not much really to add other than, it didn't break down. It traded a crap ton of volume. It held every level of support, came back and actually had like some type of high day breakout into close, and now we're gapping up to 67 cents. So, when we see something is active or has interest in small cap, I mean, like I don't really know the catalyst. I don't really care as much for M goal, but at least this thing is trading upwards of, 800 million shares in a given day, and the day before that 500 million, and we're going on to day 3. So I'm probably not trading M goal at this point, but I am watching it for framework type style of patterns. I think that enters the interesting realm, especially if it can go higher today, and like start to blow off and put in a more of like a exhaustion candle instead of like yesterday, which was super tight and consolidated, or Friday. So I think that's interesting and going on in the market. We do still have some runners from last week. that are developing. BBAI is the other gapper I would probably talk about. Again, not really something I'm looking to trade today necessarily, but super in play, trading the crap ton of volume, big percent gainer, going higher at the moment. I'm really curious where that lands towards the middle of the week for a potential trade. And then, yeah, I'm sure, yeah, you have PV and PK. Like, I just don't really think there's much to say about that one.
Yeah, from the where we were 1 week ago today, right now with the market gapping down and there being nothing on the watch list, to where I think I had a decent amount of stuff on my watch list. Most of it's not necessarily to trade today, but there is stuff out there, stuff to keep an eye on, stuff to prioritize, pay attention to. BBI is one of them. M goal. You just gotta love to see it. If you're a small cap trader, if you're a short bias trader, if you're a long bias trader, if you're someone with a small account, whatever you are, you gotta love to see stuff like M goal going from 12 cents to the 80 cent area this morning. Whether it's done or not, we will see. But every now and then we kind of see this momentum come to the cheapies, and we get these phenomenal gaps, these phenomenal runs. I saw someone mention it in the room in the live chat last week about its similarities to Fifi, and it's hard to ever accept that until after you've actually seen it. But I saw it in our room as well. It's got a ways to go to do that. But what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna just come. I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, it's got a ways to go before it's Fifi. Hasn't even traded a billion shares yet. Um, but what I was gonna say is, as a short seller, you said like as a small cap trader, you gotta love it. And I was just thinking like as a short seller, what I love to see is the way that it squeezed or the way that it broke out and squeezed. Like it was, I think it was hard to I took a loss on M goal, and I think it was hard for that to be a big loss because it was so like it wasn't erratic, it wasn't chaotic. It really didn't trade like a low float. It was so consolidated and structured that there wasn't like this like surprising move that came out of nowhere that like ripped 30% out of thin air. I feel like it's also nice as a short seller because like I just unless you were oversized, whatever it is, I think it was really hard to take a nasty loss on MGL. I think the writing was on the wall by close, and then it's like, well, you're either swinging this thing and it's closing at its highs, which teach their own, or you're cutting it for like small loss and just moving on. So I like the way that it's squeezing because it didn't punish me, which means I get to attack it again without fear
Yeah, and
at
maybe
some point.
today or tomorrow we're talking about it over $1. That would be even more incredible. It's just so rare to happen for a lot of these cheap stocks to do it kind of organically. Obviously, this one has some decent gaps each day, but
On
we're not
day
talking.
three,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, day three, it could close back down towards 50 cents, and then it looks really weird for tomorrow, or the range isn't as great. So I think in the most ideal world, we do get that expansion in range and opens up the downside, so that we're not playing in between this like 50 and 60 cent area. That might make it awkward.
yeah, but we will see. MGOL, one of your biggest runners to start the week. Kind of opposite point of view over on BBAI, a much bigger company, much bigger float, much higher priced. Just great to see that continuationing. I had that on the breakout over the fives, and then kind of did like a oopsie big day on Friday, which kind of kills the patterns for me, which happens sometimes because it's not really a pattern. This is more of a continuation from five still, but you do have all that consolidation in the sevens from that first red day. So right now it's kind of just hoping and prayer that this goes a lot higher, that we get a move over 10, and maybe a more serious pullback. But it's nice to have just stuff to watch, stuff to keep your eye on, to keep you patient, to keep you disciplined, to go, okay, I might not want to trade that right now or exactly this morning, but if I wait a day or two and this sets up in a certain way, a really big trade might be coming. And that's, sometimes all you need to stay patient versus those markets where you don't have that play. You're not watching anything. Nothing's running big. And you're like, if I wait till Wednesday, I probably won't trade anything either. But we got some movement. What are you guys saying over in the live chat? If you're just popping in now, the pinned message is if you want to join the raffle, you got to be there Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern to win the raffle. But everything you need to do is on that link, as well as our link tree to all of our social medias. People talking about MNTS, 3 mil float, 25% up after news. If it's really only 25%, the answer is in your question. How do you tell them why?
What was the question?
says
Fire back.
MNTS. 3 mil
MNTS,
float,
momentous.
25% up after news. Could you please give your thoughts?
Yeah.
You don't even need to look into it, unfortunately.
No. Yeah, no, I would just take that chart off my screen.
And it's not because of the chart, is it?
In the chart, the stock, the gap, the volume, what is it? Like why? You know, is kind of my question. Why we bring that up? We kind of just went over like, you know, what stocks are in play, like what are their attributes, what are their variables, why do we like them, right? And then you look at MNTS, it's doing nothing. I mean, I knew the second you said the ticker. I mean, I'm sure Dom, you have a different reason, but the second you say the ticker, I'm like, I don't remember that being in play. You know, I think it's usually pretty obvious when stocks are in play in small cap.
Yeah, I think my reason is more of just 25% up on the day. You know, if I just go to my scanner, let's count everything that's between 20 and 40% up on the day. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stocks. If I start looking at this gapper scan every morning and starting to read into and dive into every single stock up 20% or more, I'll have so much information, I'll never take a trade, and I'm just casting too wide of a net, which is why we kind of focus on like those gappers up 70, 80, 90% plus, to where you really want, where are the eyes this morning, right? Huddie's talking just technically about why this just isn't that interesting on a daily perspective. But to me, it's like, you know, this is a day one of a move. This is gapping up a bit. You said they just had news. They have a lower float, but it's not in play for a regular type of pattern. And it's not really in play for most people watching gappers because it's not hitting any of their thresholds. And so it doesn't, I'm not saying it can't go on a big run or it can't die from here. It will probably do one of those things. But just in terms of focus and priority, it's very difficult to go that far down the list and pick apart every single gapper that is up a little bit this morning, because, you know, you'll be doing this till 11 a.m. but by the time you get done with all of it. So to me, it's more of, you know, and if you're looking at it like it's I don't know, what's something very small and something very big, a needle in a haystack, you know, that's your prerogative if that's what you're trying to do, and find those stocks that are kind of hidden amongst all the gappers that have the best possibilities, because we do see runners all the time come from up 10%, 20%, 30% of the day. But is that, you know, if that's not specifically my main course of action every single day, then I have to draw the line somewhere and have to have my eyes on, you know, the best 3 to 5 charts that I see right now. Sean says OSHA big volume in cancer news. Didn't this just get murdered the other day? Oh, this is, I mean, it's up 63%. Whenever I see a chart that did something really dirty like 2 weeks ago, I don't care what the news is. I don't believe they shifted everything about them in the last 2 weeks. And this is one I think has done it many times before too, hasn't it? Let's see, going back. No, actually good run back in 24. But that most recent gap and crap from the 60s, it went red that day. Went all the way down into the 20s. And then even have this like a bounce back attempt day 2 days ago where it bounced to 24 and back to 14. Yeah, again, only up 60%. It's a beaten down chart. Ton of resistance, ton of bag holders, and yeah, I don't know what you have to add, Huddy, but it's not one that I would be extremely bullish on.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to find me to be bullish on any of these tickers. You know, I don't understand the game of trying to find the next biggest runner. That's just me. Like it's like you said, like the needle in the haystack, right? You're playing a very low odds game. You're dealing with the most of the worst companies. Most of these stocks are lying and trying to dilute onto anyone that's willing to buy their stock off their bogus PR. I don't know which ones are real and which ones aren't. I just assume they're all horrible. And it's like you said, like there's 8 tickers on a scanner. Like, how are you picking the 1 out of 8? And how often can you be right? And if it's a needle in a haystack type of game, then you're not going to be right very often. And so that just sounds miserable for me. Um, so yeah, I don't really know what OCA is going to do, and it looks like they have some nasty stuff going on. They destroyed their stock recently. There's no chart pattern down here. It's at its lows. It's, you know, like at least give it time. I wouldn't rush to the well on that one.
Yeah, kind of trending up in the pre-market. Decent volume today. I'm not going to ignore that. Up 180 mil, matching that gap and crap day from a week or two ago. So we'll
That is some
see.
good
He
volume.
just doesn't set up in a good setup way for me to ever. I'll never buy this. Can't. But we will see. We shall
You
see.
just gotta have a good reason to buy it if you're gonna buy it. It better be a damn good reason, you
Give
know?
me something. Give me a technical reason. Whatever
Yeah, give
news
me
they
give me
have is
something.
not an answer. The news is
A
never the answer.
thesis.
All right, everybody. 9:22.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being here this morning. Nice turnout for you guys. We got a long week ahead. It's just Monday, so we'll be after it every single day the market is open, which is every day this week. So 8:45 a.m. tomorrow. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Get that number up towards 50. LA Bootcamp coming up next month. Check it out. Link in the description if you want to win a ticket into that. Use the raffle that is pinned in the comments section. And if you are going to be annoyed if I say it tomorrow, I will also say it tomorrow. But that raffle going on Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live back at it tomorrow morning, 8:45 a.m. Talk about some more gappers. But without further ado, that is Huddie. I am Dom. And I hope you guys have a great start to your week.